We are back, leading ladies. We are back online. Get settled. I know we still have a couple of people trickling in. I'll give you just a second to get situated, everyone. We are back. And I'm telling you, our next speaker, if you missed out yesterday, you didn't get a chance to meet her yet, but our next speaker is truly one of the most influential people I have ever met. Just being in her presence, I said, is like being in front of royalty. She just oozes wisdom and confidence and love. Gladys resides in Yaoundé, Cameroon. She is a gender and youth development consultant with over 28 years of experience in crafting and implementing gender and youth development projects. She is passionate about women. She's an inspirational speaker and has delivered talks as a keynote speaker on a variety of topics all over the world. She is a member of the board of directors for Lead Missions International Cameroon. She brings passion into everything she does. She is people-focused and Christ-centered. She's got 3 beautiful girls that are, in fact, her greatest joy and her lasting legacy. Joining us virtually, please help me welcome all the way from Yaoundé, Cameroon, Gladys.
Others are dark and cold. But there comes something that ignites that candle, and the light begins to glow from within. And the light that shines from within cannot be dimmed. So carry your candle, light up your world, run to the dark places of the world, engage the world, shine your light for the world to see. For no one lights a candle and puts it under a table. Be that light. Today, we're going to be talking about breaking the silence so that we can unleash the power in our voices. Welcome again to yet another wonderful segment on the Leading Lady Conference 2021. Thanking God again for Dr. Madison and Claudia Gafferson for envisioning this enabling conference. Conferences that have run since 2018. It has been an amazing journey, and I'm sure that during 2021 conferences, you have been on a roller coaster of a ride, the ups and downs, but everything to enhance our beingness. I could not be happier to be a part of this wonderful, wonderful conference. Leading Lady 2021 on vision, value, and voice. To be able to break that silence, let us revisit some of the key concepts of the theme of this conference. Your vision, your value, and your voice. These are 3 V's, but I'm going to take you to 3 E's. Your vision, which enlightens you, your value, which enhances you, and your voice, which energizes you. So you have your enlightener, you have your enhancer, and you have your energizer. Your vision enables you to refocus and to redirect your life. Maybe you have just been groping in the dark, but with this conference, I am sure that as you listened to the wonderful teachings of the conference, you have been able to craft a vision for yourself. Your value are your core systems, the things that make you you, what makes you tick, your you-ness, as I like to call it, your beingness that nobody else can have, your amazing self. This helps you to rediscover yourself, to rediscover those things that have been hidden way deep inside you. And when you rediscover them, then you begin to reinvent yourself. You come out of that into a newness of self. And this is what this conference, I hope, is doing for all of us. And then you have to take your vision and your value and propel it and put it out there for the world to see. So that is your projection. It is who you are that will enable you to make an impact in the world. The aim of this conference, all the conferences, as I've always said, is to be your true, amazing self. Nobody's going to do that for you. You have it all there inside of you. There is nothing that I'm going to talk about today that you don't already know. Maybe I'll be packaging it differently, and that is the beauty of this discussion that we're having, because we are just going to be hearing ourselves say the things that we already know, and then re-enlivening the things that we have inside of us so that we can make this world a better place. Breaking the silence and unleashing the power of your voice. What a beautiful thought. That we've come this far in this journey. We've looked at the noises that impede or hem in our voices. And now we are going to take time to break that silence and to unleash the power that we have in our voice. There are two concepts here, silence and voice. What is silence? What is voice? How can you find your voice? And then ultimately, how can you unleash the power in your voice? For the purposes of this conversation that we're having on breaking the silence and unleashing the power of your voice, we'll look at silence, as something that is imposed, something that is an intimidation, something that is repressive, and breaking such silence will become our liberating factor. So breaking the silence is the thing that is going to set us free. You see, the history of women has been rooted in the culture of silence. When we were growing up, we were taught that for a woman to be beautiful, you had to be seen and not heard. We were taught that silence was golden. Today, I dare say, we know different. Because we are all human beings, people of the universe, and we belong in this universe, and we should let our voices be heard. You see, that is why Maya Angelou, in her poem, I Am Still, I Rise, she says, and I will paraphrase loosely, that out of a history that is rooted in pain and shame and in silence, still I rise. Into a daybreak that is wondrously clear, I rise. I am an ocean, leaping and wide. And I dare say, as that ocean flows, it embraces its obstacles. It rolls over its obstacles. It finds its way as the river is flowing down. And so the river has a lot of strength. And it's from that position of strength that I bring all the women of the world to be like that river. The obstacles will be there. The noises will be there. But we've got to break all of those obstacles so that we can find our voice, because there is beauty in our voices. So no matter what whether you're coming from a place of shame, a place of pain, a place of darkness, a place of emptiness, a place of nothingness, it is said often that our voice is crafted out of those very dark places. So until your back has been against the wall, then you wouldn't know when to unleash your voice. When you're down and out and you think that there is nothing left for you in this world, you find a way to rise, and still you you will keep rising with the certainty of the tides and the waves. You shall continue to rise. So for us to be able to break that silence, we have to see silence for what it truly is. Silence is the thing that negates us, is the thing that violates us. Silence and powerlessness go hand in hand. Silence violates your beingness. Silence is the ocean of unsaid things, the unspoken, the repressed, the erased, the unheard. Silence is dead. And as long as we are living, as long as we're breathing, we are not dead, and so silence cannot be part of our aura of who we want to be in the world. But don't get me wrong, silence can also be beautiful, because it is a place where you find peace and tranquility, and it's a place where you can bring your thoughts to fruition. Silence is something that stifles your voice. It's something that hems you in. And so it is something that we need to break for the purposes of finding our voice. And that brings me to the next point. What then is voice? Is voice just a sound? Is it just music that you listen to? Or is it just something that people talk about? No. As Malala says, voice is the organ of the soul. I like that. It just tells you the depth of what voice is. It's the organ of the soul that when the whole world is silent, even one voice becomes very powerful. So voice then is the quintessential essence of our being. It is you voicing your quintessence, the who you are, and bringing it out to the world. And it can come in different shapes and forms. Voice, as we mentioned earlier, is your window to the world. It's your candle to the world. It's the ultimate expression of your vision and your values. Without voice, there is a void. So therefore, voice is what you put out there. It is the outward expression of one's true inner essence. Your thoughts, your feelings, the you that you live with. It could be in song, it could be in music, it could be in art form, it could be dance, it could be poetry. All it has to do is be some kind of a form of expression. And so you need to express that in any form, shape, color that you choose, that you cannot keep it inside. It is that thing that is inside of you that you feel that the world must see and the world must hear. So why should I unleash my voice? Why? Why is it important for my voice to be heard? Now, I like this imagery, that your voice is like a volcano. You know, when you express your thoughts and experiences, like a volcano, the landscape changes and nothing stays the same. New mountains are formed, maybe sometimes new islands even, maybe oceans erupt. But when your voice comes out powerfully, like a volcano, it changes the entire landscape and it colors the landscape of your society. But if you allow your voice to be silenced, then you allow your focus, your vision, your purpose, and your value to be taken away from you. So now, how do you find your voice? In all of this hula baloo that we have in the world, in all this mishmash, in all this topsy-turvydom that we have, with all the noises that surround us, how do you single out your voice? Because to be able to propel your voice, you have to find your voice. And for us to do that, we need to take that journey inside of us. Your voice is shaped as I mentioned earlier, by the dark places in your life, where you think that you are nothing, then something inside of you wells up, and you know that it has to be expressed. And if you don't express it, it's as if you are suffocating and you're going to die. So when you take that journey inside of you to find the places that enabled you to identify your voice, then you'll be able to put it out there. Your voice is also shaped by the voices that you are listening to. Who do you listen to? What kind of music do you listen to? Do you read books? Do you watch movies? What is it that you're listening to? Those are the things that will help you to find your voice and then to grow your voice, and then you can be able to use your voice. Let me go down memory lane and how I found my voice. It has been said that the formative years in a person's life are between maybe 0 and 5. That is where your personality gels. I'm yet to verify that. I don't know much about that, but I read it somewhere. But you see, when I was growing up as a little girl, those wonderful fireside chats that we used to have with our grandmother, and she'll put a cocoyam in the fire and some plantain or something, and we'll be talking about this and that and the other. And at some point, she looked at me for a very long time and she said, you know, you're like okra or okra. Nobody can really fully contain you. That even when they try to grab you, you come out of the creases of your fingers. Yeah, I just packed that somewhere. You don't think about it, but as I grew older, I began to think, well, what did she mean by that? And then she added, and also you are like a staff. She called it a walking stick. In Pidgin we say waka stick. What it meant is that you are a go-to person. You are somebody that people can come to and listen to and find solace. And that I think, as I became a woman, it started to gel. Because you realize that statement took root in your person and started to shape the kind of person that you are. Therefore, I know that my bubbliness, sometimes I say I'm the bubble in people's champagne. My bubble that I have in me cannot really be contained. And so that has shaped my personality. And I cannot run away from it. But you see, my grandmother, way back when, identified that. Let me tell you another story on how Maya Angelou found her voice. At the age of 4 or 5 thereabouts, she was molested by an uncle in her family. And the day after, they found that uncle had been kicked to death. Maya Angelou said she felt like she was responsible for that uncle's death. And so she went mute. She was quiet, silent, until she was about 14. So that one incident muted her voice. But in the process of that, when she went to live with an aunt, the aunt had this beautiful library of all kinds of books and told her to just read. And she read, and she read, and she read. And she wrote on a piece of paper, showed it to her auntie, I love poetry. She still was not talking, she was just scripting things. And her aunt told her, well, if you love poetry, you must voice it. Poetry cannot just stay inside of you. You must voice it for it to be able to have an impact on people's lives. That is when she found her voice. From a dark place of thinking that she was responsible for somebody's death, to reading all those books, and boy, when she found her voice, did she ever find her voice. She danced, she sang, she wrote, and today she is my mentor. She is probably to me the greatest poet alive. Oh, no, she passed, but the greatest poet that there is. And so she is my go-to person. When she tells you, be the rainbow in somebody's cloud, that resonates in something in my life. So that is how Maya Angelou found her voice. So how are you going to find your voice? Take that journey inside of you. Go to those dark places. And remember, as we said earlier, stars shine the brightest when it is darkest. So when you find that voice, by all means, release it. Put it out there so that it can change the landscape. If not for you, for somebody else. So how do you unleash that power of your voice? How do you do it? I was talking to a young friend of mine, and I was telling them that when God brings you to a place of emptiness, to a place of nothingness, to a place of total void, it is for a purpose. That perchance therein you will find a reason for your being, and that God wants to use that experience for you to be able to transform your space. But you have to go down that hole so that you can come out of it with power and project. And therefore, the things that you say, the things that you do are measured. You don't just speak for speaking's sake. Maya Angelou again, like I said, says, I know why the caged bird sings. The caged bird doesn't just sing because it's just singing. It sings because there is something deep down inside it that it wants to release, and it wants the world to hear and to know and to learn. So you need to unleash that. So how do you find that voice? How do you unleash that voice? I have 10 points. Number 1, as we mentioned earlier, you face the demons inside of you. Who are you living with? You silence the voice of doubt so that you can have your voice of meaning. You silence anything that negates your personality. You establish yourself with self-affirmations. You build your confidence. You have some time for yourself. You focus on the things that you have done. And you don't worry about what the world is going to say. You worry about how you are going to impact your world. You see, you're not just leaving footprints, you're leaving heartprints. Again, Maya Angelou says, people will forget what you said. They will forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. So when you can put out a word out there that brings somebody to a feel-good position, then you are leaving a heartprint, and that memory will be etched forever in their hearts, and they will never forget it. So continue to connect with the people who think like you. Continue to go to your spiritual root. Continue to find that spirit inside of you that comes and ignites the candle that is laid dormant for a very long time. And when it does that, when that candle is ignited, I go to my mantra that a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. So the onus is on you to light as many candles as possible using the instrument that you have, and that is your voice of expression. That expression can be in red, in blue, in green, in yellow, whatever color you choose. It's your choice. But by all means, use your voice and express it. And in order to add lasting meaning to our vision and our value, we must therefore then eventually find our voice and use that voice that we have found. Now let me give you some questions that will help us to be able to uncover or unleash that voice. So at this time, maybe you have a journal or a little scrapbook or a notebook. Take your pen and paper out and let's walk it down. So now let's take it step by step. Let us break it down. What kinds of questions can you ask that will enable you to find your voice? Question number one, what makes you angry? Something that you look at in the world and it's just unconscionable. It's something that you don't think should happen at all. Look at that thing very closely. That will be your voice of justice. It'd be your voice to say, this thing is not the way it should be. I need to correct it. Second question, what makes you cry? When you watch a movie, for example, what draws tears from your eyes? Is it the hopeless, the childless, the homeless? Is it the people who are hungry? Is it the sick? What is it that makes you weep for the world? That would be your voice of compassion. So maybe your voice is a voice of compassion. You need to put it out there. What platform do you have? What are you working on right now? What are you using as a springboard to make your impact felt in the world? That will be your voice of achievement, the things that you want to achieve in life. Now, what is your go-to place? Something that you sleep on, in your wake, in your sleep, when you're talking, when you're walking, when you're dancing. This thing is front and center in your life. You just cannot shake it. What is it? That will be your voice of passion. That tells you that is something that you are very passionate about. And if you don't do that thing, you know that you cannot satisfy. You just be living, you just be existing. But find your passion and go with it. What is it that you hope for in life? What gives you a sense of direction? Something that tells you, maybe in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be. Maybe the next 10 years, this is what I want to accomplish. That will be your voice of vision. Now, what would literally blow your mind? Like something that you thought, maybe I could never do. But it's something that I've thought about, I've dreamt of. Maybe like going to space. It's far out, that would blow my mind. That would be your voice of adventure. It's that little adventurous person in you, like you want to discover things that you've never ever done before. So listen to that voice. Now the last question that I'm going to ask you. If you had one day left in the world, what would you spend it on? What would you do? Think very carefully about this question, because that is your voice of legacy. That is the thing that you do so that you can die empty. That is, you unburden, you release, you give of yourself until there's no more giving. That is your legacy. That is what you want to be remembered for. Your voice of legacy. I am hoping that these few questions, as we go into a workshop, will help us to unleash our voices. And then when we have unleashed the voices, what do you do with that voice? I opened up with a poem. There is a candle in every soul. Some burn brightly, some are dark and cold. We are hoping through this conversation that we have reignited your dormant and dark candle. So it is now up to you to pick up that your candle, run into the dark places, bring light into your world, make your voice have an impact. Be you, be your amazing self, and we all love you, and we know that you are wonderful, amazing, leading ladies 2021. God bless you. Dear amazing leading ladies of the world, we have had a fabulous journey. I have learned so much. And I'm looking forward to the breakout sessions so that we can connect some more. So as I was saying, you have a wonderful voice. Drown the noise. Highlight your voice. Break the silence. Put it out there. And you will be amazed at the wonders that your voice can do to the world. I just hope and wished that I could have been with you live, Mission Texas. All of you, I say hello to all of you. I'm sorry I could not make it for circumstances, as we always say, beyond our control. But all things do work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose. And therefore I'm trusting that even through this medium, that we have been able to connect somehow, somewhere. And I'm hoping that I have left some footprints and handprints, and that we together will move from bitterness to betterness and to make this world a wonderful place with our vision, our value, and our voice. Thank you.
Wow. All right, so hashtag unleashed, right, ladies? We are hashtag. Ooh, we got excited about hashtag unleashed, I guess, right? All right, so we're going to try to get Gladys on live again. Let's see if we, just bear with us just a sec. We're going to try to get her on, so let's see if we can interact with her. There she is. Hi, beauty.
Hello.
You look fantastic.
Hi, everybody. Thank you.
Does she not look amazing? I mean, this woman is regal. I mean, she just exudes beauty, right? Okay, so since we have a couple of minutes, I just kind of wanted to take some time like we did yesterday to just visit a little bit, just dive in a little deeper. I know you spoke about Maya Angelou and your teaching, but I just kind of want to know, I'm curious, who was the most influential person or persons, right, that shaped who you are and that helped you find your voice?
Thank you very much, Yvonne. Without any doubt in my mind, my mother, Ma Olive Bonfen Shang, shaped the person that I am. We always say that we are standing on the shoulders of great women who have gone before us. I am standing tall because I am standing on her shoulders. She molded me with a lot of love, a lot of encouragement, and a lot of passion. And this is what she used to tell me. The world sees you as you are, but God sees you as you ought to be. The world sees the oranges, but God sees the seeds in the oranges that will grow more fruits to produce more oranges. So this is my word to everybody who is there, especially the young girls. The world sees the oranges, but God sees the seeds in the oranges.
That's right. That's awesome. You know, my mom played a huge role, as I'm sure for a lot of you, your moms played a huge role. But going through the motions. I was young in my career. And I saw this job posting, right, for a position, and it was for management in the same industry that I was in. And I thought to myself, you know, I should apply for that. In the day, guys, we had an actual newspaper with job postings, okay? And so it would keep coming out, and it just kept prompting me that I should apply for that job. So I show up with my resume, okay? You know? So she says, sit down. Really calmly. She was the epiphany of grace and class, this woman. And she says to me, you know, are you currently supervising 600 clients on your caseload? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, that's case management. Do you hire over 600 attendants on your caseload? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, that's management. And she said something to me that I will never forget. She said, just because you don't have the title does not mean that you are not a leader. And I realized in that moment that she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. And I never again allowed anyone else to define who I was, no matter my title, my education, or anything else. Pam Bales, my mentor, unleashed my voice, and I am still talking to you right here, right now. And that's what we want, for you to find your voice and to unleash your voice. But it's an important topic, you Gladys, and I just want to ask you, I know along the way that there's been people who have tried to silence my voice, okay? So I want to know from you, tell me about a time that someone tried to silence your voice, and how did you handle that?
I would say maybe a time that we have some internet connection problems, but I would say that it is when I found myself in a very dark place, and that is when my husband passed, and society had put so many labels on widows, but that affected my output in my job. I was just existing. I wasn't my full self. I wasn't doing the things. And so in that darkness, I found my voice. My supervisor had written a report about me, and saying that I needed a lot of improvement or else I would have to lose my job. That silenced my voice, because that made me feel unworthy, made me feel unproductive, and made me feel like I wasn't up to par. I did something that I was going to lose my job, and having 3 young girls on my back to raise them was going to be almost an impossibility. So I needed to get up and shake that off and find that voice inside of me. And I told her, I want to thank you for this horrible report, but I want to reassure you that I will never be the same again. And I walked out
On day 2, we are so honored and blessed with your presence here, with your words of wisdom. Anything else you want to close with before we go?
I just want to thank all the phenomenal leading ladies and to encourage us to celebrate each other's greatness, to celebrate each other's amazingness. We rise by lifting others. Hold somebody's hand up, make them feel beautiful, make them know that they are God's beautiful and wonderful creation, and that one person cannot do it all, but that together we can break things and make things happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gladys. All right, we're back. We have some really important information to share with everyone so that everyone knows how to transition into our next segment of breakout sessions. For those of you who are here in the house, we have individuals here that will be going to other rooms to provide the breakout sessions. So we're going to kind of go through and once again outline every breakout session so that you can decide which one you want to participate in, and then you will follow that breakout session speaker to their respective area. Okay? And for those of you who are watching online, we're going to be putting up a slide with all of the different breakout sessions and the phone numbers that you will need to call into so that you can participate in that breakout session virtually. All right? So, is everyone back from the little break? Okay, good, because here we go. So, if you are interested in becoming a voice in ministry, Miss Atem, can you raise your hand? There she is. So if you are interested in becoming a voice in ministry, please follow Miss Atem to her breakout session. Okay? If you are interested in becoming an outreach voice, Miss Victory, can you please stand, raise your hand? There she is. All right, Miss Victory, if you are interested in the outreach voice breakout session, follow Miss Victory. She's wearing that gorgeous yellow dress. All right, Ms. Yage, if you are interested in learning about becoming a 360 voice, that means all round. All right, follow Ms. Yage. She's right here in the front. There we go. All right. And if you are interested in becoming a voice of value, Miss Kate, there we go. If you are interested in becoming a voice in business, Miss Julie, and she sold her conference yesterday really well, her breakout session. So if you are interested in becoming a voice in business, follow Dr. Julie. And our very last session is becoming a career voice. Miss Deli, she is the only one who will be performing her breakout session virtually. So if you are interested in becoming a career voice, you can stay right here in the main auditorium and we will be playing her session with her virtually. Okay, any questions? We got this. Online, we got this. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll try to get your questions answered. But just so you know, all of the information that you need is on the screens right now. Again, becoming a voice in ministry, Dr. Atem, becoming an outreach voice, Miss Victory, becoming a 360 voice, Miss Yage, becoming a